Hi, my name is Rich, and I'm doing a video response to Avalon's Spiritual Odyssey. Um, she did an amazing video asking everyone 29 questions, kind of just exploring their personal experience with tarot, and I think this is awesome, so I'm going to chime in. I was a little hesitant at actually doing this video because I'm actually kind of a beginner. I I would say I'm just a couple months in my initial, like, kind of hardcore training, learning, getting into this. So, yeah, I'm a beginner. Um, but I think I think it would be interesting to kind of just log this point in my journey with tarot. It's the beginning state, so I can see where I will have progressed in the future. And hope this is still useful to some of you guys. Let's get into the questions. What initially drew tarot to me, and how old was I? I was initially drawn to tarot just from the artwork. I think the artwork spoke to me so strongly. There was a game store next to my university that had a glass case that displayed some tarot decks. The tarot decks were like all laid out, and there was like Egyptian statues and other mystical kind of stuff on these glass shelves, and it just looked so kind of magical, and I was really drawn to that. But the boxes themselves, I wasn't able to look at the cards or touch the decks or anything, but because they were in the glass case. But just the artwork on the boxes themselves were pretty spectacular, and I was really drawn to that. um, but at the same time, I was kind of intimidated by tarot, so I didn't want to just buy a deck and not know how to use it, and that kind of affected my first purchase. This was like kind of middle of my college career. Well, probably 21 or 22 of age, um, and I bought this deck right here. So, this is the Quick and Easy Tarot. Has an image of the traditional Rider-Waite deck, colored kind of like the universal version, kind of soft colors with a kind of like a color pencil kind of look to it. The card itself has meanings written on the top. If you turn it around, it's the reversals meanings. Pretty nifty if you're learning, I guess, but it actually didn't speak to me at all. When I bought the deck, I wasn't very connected to it. The images were kind of small for me, and all the text on each card was kind of just actually, it blocked my intuition. So I didn't really I didn't get into tarot with this deck at all. I bought it, it sat on my shelf for 2 years or 4 years, I guess. I got a deck after that from buying a video game. And so these two sets of cards were the tarot decks that I had for the longest time. I have this very cool back. Actually, I really like this set of cards, but as you can see, it's very thin. It's only the major arcanas. Done by I forget his name, but he is a game artist, and he does a lot of artwork for Final Fantasy and other RPGs, and so it has a very kind of fantastical kind of look to it, very drawn and a little sketchy, but the sketchiness is still very beautifully done. Just the way it's rendered, it's pretty just cool. So here's some of the imagery. I'll try to go through them pretty quickly, but I don't see this very often. I haven't seen it on Eclectic Forum or anything, so I wanted to share this with you guys. I guess this video is kind of like a double show and tell, plus this video response. So yeah, the Fool, the Magician, High Priestess. The imagery is kind of generic. Not too much of the original kind of symbolism that you see in like a Rider-Waite deck, but it still kind of encompasses the archetype of the cards. It's still there, I feel like. So I think it's a pretty cool rendition of these things. The Chariot, you can't see the Chariot, but you still have the feeling of the Chariot. I think it's pretty cool. The Strength. Hermit. It's actually kind of strange to see him face you like this. It's almost kind of creepy. The World, we have donkeys kind of circling the wheel. Justice. The Hanged Man. I think this is such a cool representation of the Hanged Man. The artwork is gorgeous on this. I don't know if you can see it too well, but I think hands around his head, well, behind his head, such a, it speaks to me a lot more than the hands behind the back, because you can just see that he's thinking, he's kind of reflecting and kind of just seeing things in a different perspective, kind of just letting it, being in that state of mind. I feel like I think it's more apparent with the arms in this position. The simplicity of the cards are so cool, and the images are still very lovely. The Death card, kind of your generic archetype of death. So it doesn't really show what a tarot card would probably show, in the sense of symbolically what it would mean. So I'm not quite sure how well this artist knew about tarot symbols, but like it does kind of follow the basic image of what you would see in a Rider-Waite major arcana. So yeah, like this one has the two vessels, and she's pouring the liquid between the two. But such a lovely card. Oh my god. I think that's probably my second after the Hanged Man. The Devil, you can see that it's guiding the person, kind of controlling the mind. Tower, such a cool card. The perspective is just kind of strange. You're looking up at the falling tower, so you could very well be crushed by the rumble that's falling. You don't see the two falling figures. I feel like you are a falling figure in this. So very cool artwork. I think this is actually one of my favorite depictions of the tower. Too bad it's not in a full deck. The Star, not my favorite, but I guess it does follow. The Moon, the Sun, strange depiction. There's two figures back to back. I'm not quite sure what that would mean, but it's still a very lovely card in itself. Judgment, the World. This is so cool. Look at that. That is just gorgeous. You have the feminine figure in the middle with the four creatures in the corners. Very well done. Very simple and yet elegant. Has everything I want in the world, essentially. Just gorgeous. Sorry about that tangent. I think that was kind of just important for me to share that because I really wanted to share that. So am I a fan of Rider-Waite Smith or the Thoth system? I'm a Rider-Waite Smith fan. That's what I've been studying so far. I've looked into the Thoth cards a little bit, and I haven't really drawn to them as much. But again, this is the beginning of my journey with tarot, so maybe in the future. I don't know. Um, what type of tarot reader are you? I feel like I'm pretty gentle and quick so far. I haven't been doing too many readings, but I've been doing um, a good number, I guess, for how much time has passed. Probably like 20 or 30, somewhere around that range. I've been doing it for coworkers and friends and families, trying to just practice and getting a feel of how to do a tarot reading. I did watch the video response that was done by Still Hunter, and I kind of have the same sentiment about how to do a tarot reading. Actually, I kind of do it very similar to what she does. I have the client sit next to me, kind of side by side, or like at a 90-degree angle, and I'll kind of turn the cards so that we're both seeing the cards at the same perspective. We're not sitting opposite each other. So we're kind of exploring the cards together, and I'm more guiding them through it, because I'm also still kind of learning the cards, and they all kind of know that, and so they're really patient with me. But at the same time, I ask them to look into the cards themselves and see what they see, and so that we can explore the cards together, which is how it's been going so far. Yeah. Do you use tarot for path working, meditation, manifestation, etc.? I actually have not been. I guess a little bit of meditation. I guess you just innately do that when you look through the cards and you kind of think about them and reflect about them and try to derive a meaning out of them. But for my own kind of like personal meditation, I guess I haven't really been doing too much of that. Path working, I'm not even quite sure what that means. I see it sometimes on like the Four Queens channel. Yeah, I'm not really sure. Maybe that's something I'll explore in the future, but not so far. um, do you do daily draws? Um, Sometimes I choose I draw a card for the day, but I haven't been doing it religiously, so I guess I haven't been doing daily draws. I do interact with my deck every day, though. Like, I'll shuffle it, or I'll bring it around with me, so I do have an interaction with it every day. I usually look at a cluster of cards every day, actually. I guess still kind of that study phase, so... Do you utilize a journal, a tarot journal, and what are your benefits of a tarot journal in your opinion? I actually do use a tarot deck, or sorry, a tarot journal. Where did I put it? I have a little black book. I carry it with. Oh, it's right in front of me. This. I just record readings, what cards showed up in the readings, and in what position and whatnot. I also write meanings, and I kind of like do card evaluations and whatnot. I've been writing a few notes from watching some videos and whatnot, but it's kind of just the bare minimums at the moment. I do plan to expand my journal keeping. I bought a 3-ring binder, and I intend to fill it with all the crazy knowledge that is available to me on the internet. There's just some cool, interesting stuff. I guess I'll talk to you about it later. Do you consider yourself a tarot collector, and do you stay true, or do you stay true to one or two decks only? I mean, this is what I've been reading with. This is what I've been studying, and this is what I've been just really immersing myself in at the moment. So my experience so far has just revolved kind of around this one deck, the Shadowscapes Tarot. Lovely, lovely. Oh, did I even talk about how I got this? No. this is what got me into tarot. It wasn't the quick and easy, which sat on my shelf for years. This is the deck that got me into tarot at the present state I'm in right now. Maybe a year ago, I bought a book, Dreamscapes, Myth and Magic. It's pretty much a how to draw book. It gives, what kind of media, how to use watercolor, compositional things, how to draw feathers and how to draw scales and stuff like that. Pretty cool stuff. You get to see some of the example artwork from the artist. Look at that. That's just gorgeous. Oh my god. This book is written by oh, sorry, right here. Oh, it's backwards. I'm sorry. Stephanie Pui Munlaw, the creator of the Shadowscapes deck. Sorry, Shadowscapes. She wrote this. This is what I first initially bought, and because I'm an artist as well, and so I buy stuff like this sometimes. And in going through the book, I saw some imagery that are from her tarot deck, like this. You see the Page of Wands, Six of Pentacles. You see the Moon card in here. Actually, the Sun. This is not the representation in the tarot deck, but I think that's so awesome. Sometimes I wish that was the tarot deck, the tarot representation of the Sun. Doesn't have quite the same meaning, but it's such a lovely card or image. In their introduction, though, it did talk about the artist having a tarot deck of her own. So I kind of researched her artwork online, and I saw the tarot deck, and I saw some of the cards, and I really liked it. I really, really did. But that kind of just sat in the back of my mind. I kind of just waited out, and I forgot about it until Halloween, actually. I went to Salem, and there was this card store that was having a tarot deck sale. And the tarot decks were like $10. I was like, wow, that's a really, really good deal for tarot decks. You know how expensive they can be sometimes. So yeah, I looked at all the cards at the store, but none of the artwork spoke to me. So after that, I remembered looking into the tarot deck by the artist from this book, and so I went out and purchased it online. I did spend a lot of time researching and reading about it and watching reviews and everything about the deck before I bought it. I guess there was this weird hesitation I was having getting into tarot, but once I got it, it was just like, bam, I was so connected, and I was really into it. I'm basically eating, breathing tarot. I'm just, during my free time, I'm reading it on my phone, or I'm kind of writing in forums and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been quite a adventure so far with the Shadowscapes Tarot. Lovely, awesome deck. And this is the deck I've been using thus far. Not much of a collector at the moment. You already saw the Quick and Easy and the Tactic Ogre cards I had, and I actually just bought a deck today. Yeah, I did. What did I do with it? Tarot Illuminati. Again, it's backwards, I'm sorry. Actually, I haven't opened the cards yet. As you can see, still in the wrapping. I'm a little hesitant at actually opening the cards. I feel like it's just not the right time yet, I guess. I did go through the companion book a little bit. It's very interesting. I think that's what I'm going to be doing tonight. Uh, but yeah, I think I will be starting a collection of tarot decks. So far, I'm pretty content with doing readings just with my Shadowscapes deck. Um, I am a Magic the Gathering player, so I do have a collection of cards. I do have that tendency to collect things. So yeah, I guess I will be in the future, um, just not at the moment. Maybe maybe I'll kind of restrict myself to just collecting one thing at a time. Just maybe like card games and whatnot. Yeah, I don't know if that made any sense. How do you how do you bond with a deck? Um, I've bonded with my Shadowscapes Tarot by. I felt like I actually made a bond with it prior to actually getting the deck physically, um, just by doing all the research and all the, um, looking at every image online, uh, every card. I mean, Stephanie has the images on her website, so you can see them. And it's gorgeous. It's really amazing deck. Um, so doing all that reading and research, I felt like I had an investment in the deck. Really kind of bonded with the images themselves. Um, and then when I physically got it, it was it just it felt right. It There was no doubt about it. Instant connection with it. So yeah, I do carry it around with me everywhere. So there is this sharing of energy, always being in my presence, kind of. I mean, I bring it to work sometimes. Oh well, actually, all the time. I bring it to friends' houses. I don't necessarily bring it out um, and do like a reading or anything. I'll just have it on me so that just in case. um, and also so I can study it on the train or whatnot. It's a and that's my bonding time with it. It's just always having it on me. And I think that is a good way to bond with a deck. Um, I do shuffle it every day. Sometimes I actually in the beginning I kind of just sat with that deck in my hand and kind of just like put my intent in it and my energy, trying to ground it and make a connection with it. So I guess there was a little bit of that kind of mystical bonding. But I think what was most important is just having the deck with me all the time. Do you cleanse, bless, and empower your deck? Um, I cleanse it with quartz. This is my quartz wand. Um, I also have some tumbled quartz and an amethyst. Um, I actually, you know what? I've with my previous decks, I've had this sitting on top of them, and I use that as my main cleanser. But I actually do like the amethyst a lot. It's kind of I wish I kind of had a wand that was this big or bigger, um, but the purple really like I think it I think the Shadowscapes Tarot knows that it's a very purple dominated deck, so it is drawn to the amethyst more so than the quartz. I put both of them on top of it just in case, so it can draw out the negative energies in whatever fashion it wants to be drawn out. Um, Other than that, um, I do tap the decks sometimes in between readings. If the readings are back to back, I kind of just knock out any bad energy that's in the decks. Um, I did try to do a sage smudge once. Um, However, my partner was very offended by the scent of the sage burning, and so I don't think I'll be doing that very often anymore. Um, so yeah, the quartz is my main ways of cleansing the deck. I also leave it out in the moonlight sometimes. Um, the wooden box I keep my tarot decks in is in the near a window sill, so it's kind of in the moonlight already. Um, yes. Do I adhere to any tarot superstitions? Um, Besides the fact that, hmm, yeah, I kind of do think that you kind of have to cleanse the deck of negative energy between readings or after readings, and I do keep the quartz on the deck if I'm not using it. So in that regard, that's my superstition with tarot. I don't really think decks have to be gifted to you. I don't think um, it's bad luck to damage them or whatnot. So I don't I don't really know. Um, Nothing that really sticks out as a superstition to me. Um, do I integrate a significator card in my readings? I do not. It's just not something for me. Do you prefer to use spreads or do you read freeform? So far in this learning experience, I've been using spreads to help me do readings. And I think it's quite helpful just having that kind of layout and a kind of a structure to my reading. Um, of course, I've been starting out small with like a 3-card spread or a 1-card spread. I've been working up to larger spreads. Um, I've tried the Celtic Cross a few times, and you know what? I actually think I prefer a personalized spread that is created by the Four Queens. Um, she has this pretty cool generic spread that she uses instead of a Celtic Cross, and I think that actually speaks to me more. So I feel like I would be using that spread more than a Celtic Cross. As for freeform, haven't really been doing that. I don't think that's something that really kind of suits my style. So, what is your tarot birth card? I actually didn't know there was tarot birth cards until I saw Avalon's video, so I had to look this up. And when I went to some websites, it told me to enter my birthday, and the cards that came up was Death and the Emperor. And so I guess those 2 cards are my birth cards. I don't really have a connection with either of them in a very strong fashion. I do like the Death card in the Shadowscapes deck. It's very awesome. Emperor, not so much my favorite. It's probably one of the least connected cards I am connected to. Um, but when I do look at decks and the card that I do feel very connected to, I was actually kind of thinking what would be my birth card without looking it up, and I felt like the star would be my birth card. My middle name in Cambodian means star, so the image and the symbolic meaning of stars has always been kind of a pervasive um, interest in my life. Um, and so, actually, when I watch Owl Moon's um, video response to Avalon's tag video, um, she said she was a Taurus. And since she was a Taurus, she is the Hierophant. And so, when I'm looking at just the astrological association with the tarot cards, I guess I am a star. Woo! Because I'm an Aquarius, and I think that's fabulous. um, that's really actually pretty awesome, because I do feel very drawn to the star card. Um, the imagery is very, I feel like it's very me. Um, the meaning of hope and kind of a refreshing start really speaks to me strongly, so that's pretty cool. What is my favorite tarot card. Actually, my favorite tarot card is probably the Three of Wands and maybe the Two of Swords. I really like the two cards. They're just, I don't know. There's something about them that really speaks to me, and especially the depictions in the Shadowscapes Tarot. The artwork is so gorgeous for those two cards. It's just phenomenal. There's so much meaning that's packed into the two swords. I don't really understand it completely still, but it's just a fun card for me. And actually, the Hermit is pretty cool too. And I see that in spreads, and it shows up pretty often in some of my readings. It's a very interesting card to read. Um, so yeah, I think those three cards are my favorites so far. Still learning, so perhaps that will change soon. Um, what decks am I currently working with in the present? I'm working with the Shadowscapes Tarot by Stephanie Pui-Mun-La. What is my least favorite tarot deck? It, it would be the Quick and Easy Tarot with the cheat sheet on it. Just there's no connection, and I feel like it inhibits a beginner from the essence of tarot. I think learning how to use your intuitive powers and honing those powers are important, and I also feel like just the image is too small to connect with. So yeah, I think that's my least favorite tarot deck, and unfortunately it's my first one that I bought, so what is the cheekiest deck? I don't have too many decks to compare, so I'm not quite sure if I have a cheeky deck. I think my Shadowscapes deck is actually pretty well behaved in the manner that it doesn't really have jumping cards or it gives snarky responses to people's questions. I think it's pretty honest and it's pretty lighthearted. Very it's a good deck. I don't have any decks that I have experienced that is cheeky per se. So, do you own any self-published decks? I do not. My collection is quite limited, as you know. What is your tarot pet peeve? I think it's just having people judge me about tarot in general. They see if they see tarot as like a black magic or kind of a weird hobby that's associated with like strange occult kind of, um, they just kind of ostracize it because it's strange and they don't understand it. So um, yeah, it's that whole thing. You know, my partner is actually not very receptive to tarot, and he's kind of have his opinions about me learning tarot. So it's been kind of a struggle, um, and a bit of a pet peeve. But yeah. um, do you believe that you can give yourself an accurate reading on a matter you are heavily invested in? I'm not quite sure, actually. Um, to be honest, I've been very hesitant at giving myself readings. I've done it a few times, and I think those few times they were successful readings. So I guess it could work for you. Um, but I do it sparingly. I feel like it's something that I have to caution myself with. Um, um, but I feel like it's not something you don't have to kind of say no. I can't do that. I feel like it's just kind of the same lines as like a daily draw. Um, I mean, it's just another way to reflect and think about your current situation. Um, yes, it may be a little bit inhibited by your own personal mindset and so I can see the value of going to another person to do a tarot reading, but I feel like you should be afraid of doing one for yourself as well. Um, to delve deeper in your own current state of mind and maybe try to open your mind to other perspectives, formulate those perspectives on your own. Yeah. Let's see. But so far, I haven't really been um, asking any of those questions for queries. Um, I mean, most of my queries so far are people in my lives, coworkers, friends, and families, but it really hasn't been questions dealing with myself so much. Nothing that I'm heavily invested in. So I guess that hasn't really been an issue for me yet. So we'll see how it goes in the future. I feel like it would be something I would be a little bit hesitant at doing, but it might be um, open to a reading, maybe, possibly. Have you studied numerology, Kabbalah, astrology as part of your tarot studies? Um, I've watched a few videos and read a few articles about some of this stuff. Numerology and astrology mainly, not so much Kabbalah. I guess I'm just trying to strengthen my basis, my base understanding of the tarot itself, without these additional aspects. I guess there is numerology kind of inherently in the cards, and I did look at the astrological attributes of a certain card, so um, just having that in my mind, I guess, has can be a little enlightening, but I haven't really studied it too far. Um, Again, just focusing on the basics. Um, Also with numerology, I feel like I've been every numerology source I look at has a different meaning for different numbers. So all the sources are all saying different things, and so I think I kind of just want to formulate my own understanding of numbers in my own life too, and it is something I do think about. So I don't want it to be completely tainted by other people's perceptions on numbers. So once I have figured out my own understanding of numerology, then I'll look at other people's perspective of that. Um, but yeah, I do think if you just look at the tarot deck itself, you can find those meanings um, inherently in themselves. Um, yeah. What are your opinions on tarot and divination? Um, I don't remember if I mentioned this or not, but I do. Um, I don't do any readings that kind of ask a fortune tellish kind of question, a question that asks about the future or a yes or no question. Um, it's not. I feel like the cards don't speak like that. They don't tell you the future. They tell you what the future can be possibly, but it's more of a way to just gain insight and reflect about the current state and possibly the near future. Um, Again, when I'm talking to querents, I tell them that if there is a card that signifies the future, it is a tentative uh, um, meaning. It's something that can change, that can be affected by, you know, your choices or your free will. I really feel like people should disassociate the tarot with destiny and fate, because if we just see things in like a fixed state of events, um, then there's no real point in reading tarot. I mean, I feel like the point of reading tarot is so that you have a better insight of your current state, so that you can make guided decisions pertaining to a situation, and this is your control and your free will that is acting, so that you can change the future or whatever. Maybe continue on your path to an outcome of your choice. And if things are set in stone, then your guided advice is kind of null, you know. That's my opinion. And I tell my queens, you know, everything's not set in stone. You can change things. Have you ever lost or damaged a tarot deck? I have not lost a deck. My deck is my deck collection is very small, so I haven't had much of an opportunity to lose one. Shadowscapes Tarot. One of my very first readings. I'm actually a person that has the querent shuffle the deck after I've shuffled it. I really think it's important to get the querent energy into the cards before I do a reading. So yeah, I do let them handle my cards. I guess that's something that's kind of a no for some people, but that's not a no for me. That's something that's important that I have them do. If they're not comfortable with shuffling, they can just cut the deck or whatever they feel is right. But one of my first readings, someone actually nicked the Eight of Pentacles on the border. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, it's everything in reverse. Oh, you can't really see it. It's not too bad. Yeah, it's very slight, so it's not too hard to see, or it's not very apparent. There's some other cards in the deck that got damaged over the course of this month, and I actually am okay with it because since it happened so relatively early in the life of this deck, I felt like it was meant to be. That I wasn't even sure if it was the querent who damaged the card or if it just came that way. There's a few cards that seem a little inherently printed wrong. I don't know if you can see this one. The Three of Swords has that white spot right here. Oh, this is a terrible video. Not quite sure if that came about in a accident or if it was printed that way. But yeah, there's a little things about this deck that gives it character. So I feel like it's just part of the gentle love that I have for this deck. I'm actually kind of comfortable with it being damaged a little bit. I feel like it gives it some of its personality and some of its soul. So not too bad. I do protect the cards. I put them in the box. I put the box in a bag, and then I put the bag in the cloth that I do readings on, wrapped it around it. So it has a few layers of protection. I think there's a few damages from residue salt that has been on my tarot spread a few times and has not completely wiped off. So little minute grains of salt got on some of the cards, and they have been grinding between the cards, but it's just kind of like a gentle wearing, I guess. So yeah, that's some of the damage that's been done to my deck. I know it's kind of hard to hear for some of you guys, but I'm actually kind of comfortable with it being worn in. Have you ever inspired another to want to learn tarot? I don't think I have so far. I do talk about tarot kind of often with my coworkers and friends and whatnot. because it's genuinely interesting to me, and I hope that some other folks pick it up so that I have more people to talk tarot to. Um, it's yeah, it would be nice to have some people around me that would kind of be as interested as I am. But so far, I don't think anyone has bought a tarot deck or anything like that. I'm in the Boston area, so if you are watching this and you are very much into tarot, it would be really cool to meet you or whatever, chat with you, and because I think it's important to um, create a community that talks about tarot. I mean, I think this is the point of the video, is building this kind of community around tarot so that we can learn from each other and kind of just engage with each other and kind of just go on this journey together, you know? I mean, it's like you could study a tarot deck for your entire life and still not know everything in the deck itself, so the more eyes on it, the more beneficial your journey will be. In my opinion, that's how I see things. So yeah, if you're in the Boston area or the New England area, hit me up, or whatever. If you're online, I'm so open to um, conversing and creating this community with you guys. Um, do you use tarot in conjunction with any other esoteric divinatory tools? Um, Not really. I use them with my crystals, but other than that, I do not. I I don't have any tarot. Um, sorry, I don't have any pendulums. I don't think that's something that really. It's not something that really speaks to me. Yeah, I think just tarot and my crystals. Um, I guess a little bit of incorporation of the astrological aspect, but so far not in a very strong fashion. Hopefully, maybe in the future, I'll kind of study that a little bit more and incorporate that a little bit more. What is personal tarot? No, something that crosses the boundaries of your personal code of ethics. Again, future sight. I don't think that's is something that you should take with a grain of salt. Reading that is not about the coherent. I mean, I really haven't encountered this with queens asking questions not about themselves, but I feel like if it did occur, I wouldn't really be very comfortable with it, so I probably would refuse to do the reading. Or if they're asking about a situation too many times without giving it time to kind of like happen, I think I would also refuse to give a reading. Um, I mean, those are kind of like similar code of ethics to other people on um, on the YouTube community. I feel like I've gotten a lot of those ethics from you guys, but again, I don't completely agree with everything everyone says, so I kind of picked the things I like and said no to the other things I don't. So yeah, it's kind of that thing. If you could give one piece of advice to another, perhaps a beginner, what would it be? It's interesting because I'm in this state of being a beginner, so I guess maybe it's a different perspective for me as opposed to a seasoned tarot reader. For me, I think a good advice would be just utilizing um, the internet as a resource. And I think this is kind of a mute point because you're watching this video and you're probably doing that already. Um, but I think just continue on doing that, you know, reading articles and engaging with this online tarot community, so that I mean it's a free resource that I think is an important resource, and I hope this resource grows so that more people can get into tarot and more readily, um, and aren't as daunted by the task of learning tarot. um, like a lot of other people have said in their video responses, journaling is a really good tool. I didn't really want to reiterate that because a lot of other people have been saying that. So my answer is using the internet and connecting with other people and learning from other people. Internet is a great tool. Yeah, so those are the 29 questions. My video is 15 minutes long. Wow. I think it's because I've been doing a lot of showing and telling as well, so it's a little bit longer than others. But I hope this was an interesting watch for you guys. I think it was good for me to kind of reflect my journey thus far and kind of evaluate where I am at with tarot. Thank you, Avalon, for inspiring us to doing this video response tag thing. I hope to see more from you guys and learn and meet maybe some of you guys. Alright, bye guys.